Mr. Aquatic dove under the water. The lights of the police boats shone overhead. He knew he messed up. He shouldn't have killed that girl, but still, he'd protected the city for years. Why were they all going after him now? He could breathe underwater and swim super fast. He went down to a dark cove and thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to save myself? He saw a white light from above, probably a police searchlight or a diver. He looked up. He'd never killed before today, but he was ready to do what he had to if it meant that he had to survive. But when he looked up, when he saw the light, it wasn't from a flashlight or a police boat or anything. No, it was him. It was whispered about when two superheroes were alone together. The thing that came for you when you went against your duty. But Aquatic Man had never heard about what it looked like because nobody saw him until you were about to die. The robot was thin, not even particularly impressive, without that many weapons. Just a mask on its face that looked vaguely like a yin-yang mask. It swam down into the underwater cave, slowly. Aquatic Man didn't hesitate. He shot a giant blast of water at the robot and screamed out. The robot didn't react. It floated back a little bit, but not that much. It was extremely dense, heavy, sinking down towards where it was. Aquatic Man screamed at him, but the robot put its hand out, and that was the last thing Aquatic Man saw. Massacre retracted his chain blade. He didn't like killing, but that was what he was meant to do. He adjusted his density and floated towards the surface. The Coast Guard soldiers fished him out of the water and looked at each other, uncomfortable. "It's all right," Massacre said. "The mission is completed. Aquatic Man won't hurt anyone anymore." The Coast Guard members nodded. "It's all right. I understand you don't like me," Massacre said. They swallowed, uncomfortable. Massacre plugged himself into the wall and awaited further instructions from the Grey Corporation. The most powerful superhero-killing robot in the world didn't do much. He could be plugged into the wall for days and days and days without doing anything until his next assignment. His rules were extremely simple. Only go to the location when a Category 4 or above hero went insane and started killing people. Massacre had questions, like why villains weren't on his kill list. He wanted to do things like explore the world, but he was just a robot. What was he supposed to do? His orders came in before he was ready. Go for an earthquake hero in the Grand Canyon, and Massacre prepared himself for transport. As he flew over America, Massacre enhanced his view, looking down. He could see into people's houses, seeing people living their lives, a mother hugging her little son. Massacre felt a deep longing inside, but that didn't make any sense. He was a robot. He didn't have a mother. When the helicopter landed, Massacre decreased his density and floated above the canyon, looking out for the hero. This would be his most dangerous kill yet. Tectonic was a beloved hero for many years before he started his cult in the Grand Canyon. There would be hundreds of combatants, all prepared and ready for him. Massacre didn't care. If they killed him, they would just send someone else, a better model. But Massacre did wonder sometimes why he was the only one the Grey Corporation sent. Why there weren't any other superhero-killing robots out there. Just him. Tectonic's cultists were hiding in the Grand Canyon. Their robes matched the rock formations, but Massacre could see. He put his hand out and shot his chain blade, impaling one of them through the chest and pulling the cultist towards him. "You won't die," Massacre said. "I've just pierced your sternum. With medical attention, you'll be fine." The cultist spattered out blood and was in shock. "I know you're in pain, but you just need to tell me where your leader is," Massacre said. "I'll get you to the authorities and I'll—" "Screw you!" the cultist said. The cultist pointed a gun at Massacre and fired it point blank into his head. Massacre shrugged off the .50 caliber bullet and looked at the cultist in the face. "Please, I'm just trying to do my job. I understand that he's manipulated you, but you need medical attention. Let me help you." The cultist looked at Massacre in the eyes. "Superheroes used to be the most powerful thing on Earth. What happened?" And pushed himself off of Massacre's chain blade. The blood fell onto the ground and he died instantly. Massacre watched him die and wondered why. Massacre walked deeper into the canyon. The other cultists saw his chain blade covered in blood. They tried to fire guns at him, but Massacre easily dispatched them, trying not to hurt anyone else. He would stab them through the leg with his chain blade or decrease their density so they floated to the top of the Grand Canyon. In the corner of it, there used to be a section dedicated to tourists, back before Tectonic took the entire canyon for himself and decided to dedicate it back to nature. And Massacre heard singing. Massacre heard singing occasionally, and it was his favorite thing to hear. It had no utility, nothing but bringing people together, making people happy. Massacre remembered someone singing to him long ago, But that didn't make any sense. He had a perfect photographic memory of every moment in his life, and nobody had ever sung to him. The cultists were singing now, louder and louder, and Massacre could see that they were doing a death ritual, a ritual to say goodbye to their leader. Tectonic stood in robes matching the Grand Canyon and watched Massacre arrive with a calm expression on his face. "Please don't resist," Massacre said. "I'm here to bring you into the Grey Corporation. Hello, old friend," Tectonic said. Massacre couldn't compute what he was saying. "Old friend? What do you mean?" "They didn't tell you." "Of course," Tectonic said. Tectonic smiled and walked past his cultists, who all looked at him reverent in awe. "Don't do it," one of the cultists said, but Tectonic put his hand out, telling him to be quiet. "Well, Massacre, you used to be one of the greatest heroes of all time before your accident." Massacre was confused. He took a step back. "I'm 100% synthetic. That doesn't make any sense." "Well, of course they wouldn't tell you," Tectonic said. "You used to be the best of us." "Torchman, you founded our superhero team." Massacre took a step back. "I used to be human?" Massacre said. Tectonic got closer and closer to him and put his hand on his shoulder. "Of course you used to be human. You used to be just like..." Tectonic's eyes shifted to yellow. The entire cavern caved in, rocks piling down onto Massacre. Massacre increased his density and tried to get out, but it was too late. The entire Grand Canyon caved down on top of him. Tectonic went out of the rubble and sighed. He looked at his dead cultists all around him. He started to walk away, out of the canyon. Massacre dug himself out of the rubble. "Wow," Tectonic said. "I really thought that would work." Massacre didn't hesitate this time. He shot his chain blade into Tectonic's chest, piercing his sternum. "I used to be a hero?" Massacre said. Tectonic chuckled. "They said that you had human consciousness inside you," Tectonic said. "I figured I'd give it a shot." Massacre felt rage and sadness. If he had tear ducts, he would cry. "What do you mean?" Tectonic chuckled. "How could someone like you be human? You're the end of us." Tectonic smiled. "To think that you could ever be one of us is something that you would never..." Massacre withdrew the chain blade from Tectonic's chest. In his ear, his boss screamed at him. "What are you doing? We needed him alive." But Massacre stood over Tectonic, watching him die. "I might not be human," Massacre said, "but I would never lie to someone and told them they used to be something that could feel, that could laugh, that could sing." Tectonic coughed up blood under the Grand Canyon floor. "And by the way," Massacre said, "I never would have come here if you didn't kill your cultists for your stupid rituals." Massacre decreased his density and floated out of the Grand Canyon. He heard Tectonic screaming at him as he died. "Violating my human rights," Tectonic said. "Right to a fair trial. Right to a..." But he couldn't say anything else. He was dead. Massacre plugged himself into the wall. He thought about what Tectonic had said, tricking him into making him think he was human. Massacre knew at his next assignment he would have to kill someone else that had broken the rules of human life. It had been a nice dream to think that he had been human one day, but the truth is, with the amount of people he killed, if he had been human, Massacre wouldn't have been able to live with the guilt.